For this last lesson of the chapter, we're going to look at how to create iterators for other sequence types in Python. So we're going to start this program. We're going to call it otherIters.py. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a range. So we'll write numbers equals range 1 to 10, which means we have to go 1 to 11. Not that we're going to iterate over that whole range, but just demonstrate how to create an iterator for a range. And to be quite honest, it's no different than we've done for any other type of object. So if I want to create the iterator, I'll write it equals iter numbers. And now if I want to see the first number in the range, I just type print next it. Let's save the file. Then we'll run it. And my first number in the range is 1, and we can continue on just like we would with any other sequence type. So ranges work exactly like a list or a dictionary, for example. Let's look at one more example. In Python, we have the ability to import libraries that allow us additional functionality than what is found with just the regular built-in Python functions, for example. One of the commands I want to work with will return a sequence of data, and it's called popen. And what it does is it allows you to run a operating system command, like a directory, and then it will return that data into an object, and that object is iterable. So what I'd like to do is we're going to first import the library, import OS, that gives us access to popen. Then I want to say files is equal to os.popen, and then we provide the command that we want to run. In this case, I want to do a directory of all the Python programs in the current working directory. So I'm going to type dir star.py, and that will return all files that have a py extension. So then once I do that, I can create an iterator on that object, just like so, and then I can display the objects in that sequence. Now the problem is that there's going to be a lot of blank lines, because if you'll notice what happens when we get a directory, let me run that for you real quick. If I scroll back up to the top, you'll see that there's a couple of lines of just basic information about the hard drive, and then we have a little heading for the directory of C:python30, and then the files. So I probably want to display 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 lines just to get the first files to appear. Let's go back to the code. Let's copy this. Then let's paste it in a few times. We'll say 6 or 7 times. And I could have a loop to do this. If I was going to do it in a loop, I might as well do it in a for loop, which I could very easily do. In fact, let's look at that first. I'll tell you what, let's do. Let's erase this. We'll come back to it. Now let's run this code. Clear the screen. There are my files. And so what I did was I ran a system command and then used a for loop to display the data. So now let's do it with an explicit iterator instead. We'll put those back in, and that's not going to show the whole directory. Let's clear the screen. And so there we get our first view. And notice it is printing a blank line, so we could fix that by adding end equals empty string to our display. But I'm not going to add that to all of these lines. So here we've seen 2 other sequences of data that are iterable. In other words, we can create an explicit iterator and traverse through the sequence using that iterator. And with that, we're ready to move on to the exercise for this chapter, where I'm going to demonstrate how to use iterators with yet one more data structure, and that's the tuple.